but we've got to figure out how do we re-energize young people to pursue what it is that they love, or what it is that they hope to love, or what it is that they are thinking of loving, in a manner in which there are no limitations for that pursuit, right? And we are of the generation, I think, with all the knowledge, skill, and experience that we have, because experience is a big thing, which is what you're going to bring to bear. You're going to bring to bear the correlation between experience and your knowledge, which is not what they're going to learn in university. They're not going to learn.
No.
I mean, you're a brand. You've done brands, for crying out loud. This is not just swiveling on a chair and doing marketing, right? This is, how do I take water and sell it to the world?
Make it interesting.
Sorry?
Yeah. How do I sell water? Make it interesting, as plain as it is.
Yeah.
There's a photo of Wonga, as actually a year ago, because it was Christmas last year, and I like putting it on my status. He's sitting on a beanbag on the grass, and he's holding a glass of water, and he's looking at his phone. The way I took that photo, some of my friends, when they see it, they always say, "Damn, Wonga makes water look so cool."
Well, there you go.
And that's marketing. That's what we do.
Yeah.
We take that picture and let you look at it and dream.
Yeah. I mean, and you give, you know, I always say that you give hope to you know, to, when I was talking to Bonolo yesterday about her brand Nje, I was saying to her that, you know, one of the key things is that it brings hope. You know, when you put an outfit on, you create some kind of transformation in somebody, right? And that brings some kind of level of hope. So the experience element that you bring, and not just what to do, but how to do it.
How to do it
is actually vastly to tell you what to do. Only when you get to work.
Tembo, again, another graduate, said to me, I was scared because I was just preparing them now. I said, you only have a year with us, end of February, you're leaving. Now I'm preparing you for an interview. I'm also preparing you for that junior product manager position you're going to get. And he says to me, this was last week, he says, you know, I was scared. No one has ever given me the chance to put together a brand plan from the start, and you did that. You have no idea what you've done for me. And I was like, what? You have a degree in marketing.
Yeah.
And you have never put together a brand plan. He says, I'm telling you, you have no idea what you've given me. And the fact that you just gave it to me from the start, you gave me a template, you gave me a brief, and you don't understand what you gave me.
So, and that's the interesting thing about, you know, this sort of learning through skilling as opposed to learning technically, right? Is that you discover everybody can do it, right? So here's another argument. I always say that, and I always cheese attorneys about this and people in the legal fraternity, that if it wasn't for the regulatory frameworks, right, you guys would be out of business, because the assumption is that I can't defend myself. And the assumption is that I can't defend myself because I don't know the language that goes with objection, Your Honor, you know, all that sort of stuff. But are you assuming I can't learn it, or that I have to go through 7 years or 9 years of schooling? There's certain technical things, I think, in my view, piloting. Yeah, I think I want the pilot to know what they're doing, right? Surgery, yeah. I want the neurosurgeon to know what they're doing. But marketing and law and things like this, we got to simplify these things so that people go, oh, really? You know, because you give them the qualifications, but they still can't do it.
Yeah. It's shocking. I made an assumption that because they have a marketing degree, they can do this. I was like, this is basics in marketing.
Yeah.
Can't walk around with a degree and not know how to do this.
Well, you see,
Yeah.
I think the learning culture that's still there and pervasive is the one that we had, which is cram everything, pass, yay, I got a degree, right?
Yeah.
Recite what it is that you learned 3 months
Yeah.
down the line, and you're like, always used to tease MBA students, and go, I know a friend of mine who used to sit in meetings, and him and I were MBA dropouts. So he used to go, look, we got this challenge, right? But we know it's not going to be a challenge anymore because we've got some MBA people here who are going to solve this problem for us. Didn't go down very well, but the thing is that, I think the future really is about really learning and understanding, digesting, letting it become part of your DNA, and then applying, as opposed to just assuming people know because of study.
Yeah.
She studied entirely on her own. Just
Oh,
textbooks and
goodness.
WhatsApps, and even the WhatsApps were, so she never saw me.
And and marketing is a social thing, like of a better word. So how can you do marketing on your own in silo? It's
So and the thing is, she's getting mostly away with it because she sits here every day and does all our stuff around value add. So we're constantly thinking about new ways and how to advertise and how to position and all that sort of stuff, right? So she's got the practical bits that are coming in, but think about all the other people who don't have that opportunity. I mean, if you think coming out with a degree and not knowing how to do is one thing, it's going to be even worse now. So they really got to hear it, from you in terms of your experience, in terms of what you've done, and really sort of tangibly try and feel like they were part of it, because if we're going to continue doing this to our young people, we're going to have a serious generational challenge at some point.
Here's the other thing I wanted to ask you, Vic, is what do you think this person who comes onto this course is expecting after the course? Are they expecting that we're going to send them a PDF with notes, or are they coming in to take notes?
Good, excellent, brilliant question. So I and I only discovered this probably in my last session, since starting in July, that if you can make it as interactive as possible, do that. And yes, even to the extent where, not make it homework, but give them something to think about, or give them something simple like a case study to go in YouTube, because they're not going to read much, right? YouTube, I don't know, the start of Nike, or look how Google came about, whatever it is, you'll know best. But one of the things that I've started doing, and I'm still developing it, is so it's like a sort of 30-minute PowerPoint presentation that you can do, and then have discussions afterwards, but tell people what they need to be thinking about. Or it's slightly longer, but you engage with them all through the process. So for example, I'll ask them, so we can even practice this before your first session, because it's only at the end of January, but we can do things like polls, right? So I do things like polls on Zoom. So I'll say, like, which of rank these, or which of these do you think are the top 5 brands, kind of example, and then they'll do that. I do things in chat. I'll ask them a question and I'll say, okay, respond in the chat group, and then I'll give feedback. I'm learning the breakout rooms, where when the groups get bigger, you can break them up into, breakout rooms, and then give them a little 5-minute thing, and then they come back. That kind of thing, just to keep it engaged. And then at the end to say, okay, go away and study this brand, or look at this brand, and then come back to the next one and say, okay, let's pick up, what are the 3 things you found from that? And I think it's less academia, but more engaging. So I've pulled back from, because what I was doing was sort of 30, 45 minutes. You can do both. I mean, you just probably have to assess it as the groups grow, because you probably start off with 2 or 3 people and then
Yeah.
5, and then, you know, when you're at 100, it might, you know, be a completely different kettle of fish. But yeah, you can figure out how best that works for you, and
Okay.
how they're engaging. But yeah, I think that engagement and getting them to have some kind of, you know, go away and come back component, rather than just sitting there. I think I did that for the
Yeah.
first 4 months, maybe even 5 months, maybe a bit too much. But I'm still learning this thing of going into a presentation and then coming out and then having a chat. Oh, and by the way, the other thing I'm going to have, I'm thinking of having, is some Zoom rules, just to start off with, because these youngsters, you know. So the Zoom rules will just be, you know, when you start, cameras on, everybody hi, you know, I mean, if it's small numbers, then you can introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about you. When you go into presentation, then they can switch off their cameras. Then it's fine.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and then when they're answering, when you want them to answer a question physically, then the others can switch off, but the person answering must switch on. And there has to be some level, because sometimes you go into this dark, deep, blank screens everywhere. And then you call somebody out, you say, oh, you know, Xoli, you know, and then there's dead silence, and you're wondering, well, are they there or not there? So yeah, I think that kind of Zoom etiquette is important. I sit in some Zoom sessions, and I'm sure you do, where everybody's cameras are on all the time.
Yeah, but I thought it was because this whole situation was new to all of us, and some people don't even realize that they're on video. And like, we've had meetings at Epcot Ingram, and a person is at their house and they're doing strange things, and then you WhatsApp them and say, we can see you.
Yeah, no, look, yeah, I mean, I just think, yeah, with I mean, I've watched a couple of the like in the US with roll calls. And with the roll calls, when, you know, varsities or schools, they actually all have to switch on the cameras, and the lecturer goes through one at a time. Okay, Xoli, are you present? Yeah, I'm present. Hey, who are you? That's when Zoom was getting all the hacking. You know, Vic would come on just in, and then as you're doing roll call, I'd be like, hey, Mom, just can you bring me a whiskey, please? And then the lecturer, everybody would be like quiet, right? Have you seen these? You must actually Zoom. You must actually Google, you know, Zoom.
There's one that made me laugh. That's how Mom and the lecturer started dating, because Mom was just passing and the lecturer was like, ooh.
Oh, really?
I
Wow. Oh, wow. Yeah. So I think some levels of Zoom etiquette need to be there. So
yeah,
we're gonna try and use that. But and then put it out.
Are you comfortable with what I sent you on Friday?
Friday. You sent me on Friday.
I sent you flipping slides.
Oh, Friday. I was in Sun City with my feet up.
Woo!
Trying to avoid Corona. We only got back on Friday evening. But yeah, I'll go through them now. I've got quite a few emails. If I had two, what you call these things? Video sessions whilst I was at Sun City, and the good wife was not impressed.
Yeah.
But I need to, this job, I need to find, because I sometimes go to bed at 2. So I'll be sitting and I'll be thinking, and I just realized.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And the nice thing is that we're up to 10 programs now. So, and a lot more to come. Yeah, I know. I mean, but I think they're cool, because most of the programs now are being done, you know, by, you know, specialists like yourself, rather than me trying to be, you know, the person who's trying to
doing everything.
Even though I ended up in marketing. So at Corp, as chief commercial officer, the marketing division reported to me. And obviously at SAA, I was vice president of global sales and marketing. So all around the whole world was reporting to me. So I don't know how I ended up in marketing. So
I want you to say those things, ne?
Oh, yeah.
On the
No, I can. I can. We can. Yeah. No. And then, yeah. But I started like you. I started in sales, and then SAB, which was my absolute training ground. After I left SAB, I didn't need any qualifications. I got it because they had the most amazing training courses. Again, um, all my learning in terms of the practicality of marketing comes from the training institute at SAB, and a guy called Dave Carruthers, who was the marketing director for Africa, and he came from the UK, and he had been running some of the big beer brands in the UK, and everything he showed us was practical. He literally brought beers. You bring wine, right? Wine. You bring beers in a glass. You put 6 of them there, and then say, "Tell me which one is Heineken." And we'd go, "We've no idea." He says, "Exactly. This, if you put it down like this, is just a commodity. You would not know one thing from another. But if I slap a Heineken label in front of it, tell me now what you're thinking."
Yeah.
And you think premium, top mark, and he says, "Right, there you go." And now if I slap Heineken here, and then I slap one with black label, can you feel the distinction now? Yeah, you can feel the distinction. And then it was those kind of things that I remember so practically.
Which is awesome. It's just taking me straight to one of the lessons where I'm saying, when do you move from being product to a brand?
Yeah.
And there's so many things that are involved in that.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, it's the same thing as I was saying to Bonolo, is that the moment you can drive sentiment in what it is that you're producing, then you change the dynamics of your brand. And Michael Jordan, I mean, if you take Nike, an interesting story about him, I'm sure you know, is that he didn't even want to go to Nike. He literally had to be put on the plane and flown because he actually wanted to become, part of Adidas. And Nike at the time, okay, they were a novelty, but they really weren't in the trajectory they should have been. And Michael Jordan comes along and knows nothing about techies, but just creates a sentiment around, working hard, winning, striving, achieving, And Tiger Woods is the same thing. I mean, Tiger Woods, just put a cap on and change the brand and the cap design, and brand sell out like nobody. Nobody watches golf if Tiger is not playing. So yeah, it's those kind of sentiments. So I learned all that from SAB and just their success and their dominance of the market with other brands trying to come in. The ability to take Castle, which is really, nothing more but a beer, and make it feel like South African and Boerewors and rugby and soccer.
Yeah. All right. Toodaloo.
Toodaloo. Catch you later. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.